for Monday, April the 7th. In lieu of a roll call, I will ask each participant to my far right.
Ed Bell.
Dan McMillan, Clerk Treasurer.
Craig Wiley, City Attorney.
Sandy Seward.
Thank you, board members. You have been presented with the minutes of the previous meeting dated Monday, March the 17th. Floor is open for questions, comments, or corrections.
I have none.
I have none tonight.
There's no questions, comments, or corrections. I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll make said motion.
And I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I also vote aye, and the motion carries. Move on to voucher for our docket for claims. In front of you, board members, you have 47 pages of claims in the amount of $1,291,641.09. The floor is open for questions or comments.
You have a question, but I need to find what page it was on.
While they're researching, the exorbitant amount of money in dockets is because we've had, in this cycle, we had either 2 or 3 complete payrolls and 1 pension payroll. So that is half of it right there, at least. So
My question is on page 28. Almost all the way to the bottom. City of Beech Grove, $10,925. The city court transfer,
Okay, that's money that was paid out to different municipalities that the court has taken in. So we receive the money in, and then we pay it out if it's to the city of Lawrence, Speedway, whatever. And that's what that actually is. It's the money that's turned in on a monthly basis from the court to the city.
thank you. And one other question on page 29, next page. Bloomington Ford for $24,575.25.
That one there is a new Ford police vehicle that was purchased out of the criminal investigation fund. And that was paid for by cash, so, which is a good thing. Thank goodness we've got that criminal investigation fund to buy these vehicles.
And that was my only 2 questions. Thank you.
And I have, on page 31, a quick question. Guardian Network Solutions, looks like we have 6 of them.
Right.
Is this, what is this for?
What this is actually for is this is broken down by department, whether it's police department, fire department,
I see
whatever.
that.
But you're gonna see that we're upgrading our IT system as far as, this isn't the only thing. We've got about $30,000 worth of upgrades that's being done. We were told, the mayor and I, a couple months ago, that if this server went down, we could lose every piece of data that we have in this city. So we're trying to bring some of these things and doing upgrades, and you're gonna see an approximate value of $30,000, and that'll be on my financial report tonight.
Okay.
That next month I will go before the council and ask them for money, because we don't have enough money in the budget to cover all this.
That's not surprising. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
And I have no other.
Any other board member have any other questions?
No, thank you.
If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve the corporate claims dated April 7, 2014, in the amount of $1,291,641.09.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye as well, and the motion carries. Thank you. There's no unfinished business to carry over from the previous meeting. Under new business, we have 3 items tonight. The first one is a leaf machine quote with the DPW. At the last meeting, board, we approved the director of DPW to go out and solicit at least 2 bids for the purchase of a new leaf machine. And Brad, you want to comment on that real quickly? Quotes should be in your packet.
Yeah, I did. I identified the machine that we wanted, which was similar to what we have, other than the fact that those are 20 years old, and went out and got a couple of quotes for the identical machines, same options, and they came within a couple $1,000s of each other. So at least we know the prices are consistent. And then the lowest dealer, somebody that we've dealt with before on previous machinery, is reputable. We've had a good experience with them, which is Best Equipment.
What improvements have they made from 20 years ago to now?
Well, you know, those things get better every year. So in 20 years, you've had a lot of improvements. Things like there's a PTO engagement that ours have an old big lever that you have to manually push in, which engages like a clutch, which can be with the human error of if you're pushing it too slow or too fast, you can do damage. Now it's just a flip of a switch and it engages on its own. So it takes the human element out of it, which is great because not everybody is as careful as you maybe would want them to be. The tops of them now release a lot less debris. I mean, one of the complaints we get about the current models that we have, which are like circa 1994, they just blow out a ton of debris out the top, which covers a lot of cars, and people don't like that, obviously. These now have expanded metal on the top. They let out a lot less debris, tighter vacuum system. They have a hood now that channels the air out the back instead of just all over the place and sometimes into the face of the guy that's doing the work. The tubes are stronger, but about, I would say, 75% lighter almost than the one we have. So easier maneuverability. The controls are actually at the handle instead of up on a box that's mounted on the tube. So there's just a lot of improvements to the comfort of the operator, to the efficiency of the machine, the safety, the lighting. I mean, it's really pretty extensive how much better they are.
Okay, it looks like it's, the new unit is all one piece metal, and the other one is tarp, isn't it? Looks like
Yeah,
tarp on top
it's
of
got a
it,
tarp
or
top,
looks
and
got
yeah, once it
like
blows
some
up,
holes in it.
yeah, it fills up and stuff blows out the side, and
Yeah.
really only so much you can do with it. Another thing, it might seem like a simple difference, but the back now is a barn door versus a big flap that goes up. And when you're dumping it, it's less likely that those doors are going to get caught on the ground and cause problems with the hydraulics. It's a better design. Ours were, they're old, and they've just made improvements since then.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Brad.
Sure.
I want to read the quotes into the record. The first quote is from Best Equipment Company, $41,100. The second quote is from Old Dominion Brush Company. Their quote is $42,884. So I will take the recommendation from the Director of Public Works and recommend that we approve Best Equipment Company's bid not to exceed $41,100. Need a motion to accept.
I'll make said motion, but I got a question. I see $900 for special paint.
Yeah.
What did it originally come with?
It comes with like a standard white. This is a green, which we like the look of it better. And the paint, it's a better paint. It's going to hold up better to what we do. They recommend that you do it, and it is a higher quality of paint that's going to last longer.
Okay. I'll
That's
make
for-
the motion.
Motion to accept, a second?
Yes.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I also vote aye, and the motion carries.
Let me just add something in real quick. So there's two quotes. One's for 41,000, the other one is for 42,000. You have $1,000 difference. When I look at the quote, like this one, it's basically standard equipment, special paint, air scoop, safety engagement freight. The other one is so much more detailed. Are they pretty much the same piece of equipment?
Yeah, they're identical.
Right, okay,
Exact same thing.
Okay.
Exact same options too. And that's why I
how they
picked
word it.
who I picked, because they dealt in that exact same. It's just, one it was much more detailed in how they.
okay,
I have a more detailed one from the other guy.
Okay.
This was a personalized, almost had the look of an invoice.
Right.
But he has almost the exact same thing, because that actually comes from the
okay.
supplier.
All right, I mean, I just didn't, just with the description, I mean,
Yeah.
one looks like, just the basic, the other one kind of looks like a Cadillac, and for $1,000,
Right.
let's go Cadillac, right?
No,
But I just want to make sure that you get what you need and what would serve the city
They're
best.
identical pieces of equipment to a
Okay.
T.
Okay, great, sorry, so, yes,
Yeah, no
second that motion.
All right, thank you. Next order of new business is the local planning agency agreement between the city of Beech Grove and NDOT. Brad, can you very briefly talk about this as well? Please.
Yep, this kind of where we were with the sign inventory. This is like the next step in the Safe Routes to School with NDOT. Once like the design is over, they have stages of design. Stage 3 design tracings were recently approved by NDOT. Then it leads into the contract stage with the LPA and NDOT, which is essentially just putting on paper the financial agreement that, will be funded, with the grant that we were awarded, and basically just kind of hammers out how we will disperse those funds to the contractor, whoever we choose to do the work. It's pretty boilerplate standard stuff. It's going to be real similar to the sign inventory. It just basically regulates, how we will, basically it's saying that you're going to pay for what you're supposed to pay for with the money we're going to give you. And then what will come next is an RFP, request for proposals, which I have actually put out already, and I think they're due in April 18th. And we will award who's going to do the construction engineering on that project.
Are the designs already complete?
Yes, yeah. And then they have what's called FEMAS authorization. Once you get to that point, you request funding. That usually takes, well, they tell you 2 weeks. The last time I did it took 7. And then once you get the funds, then they supply you with a purchase order, and you're able to actually start reimbursing the contractor that does the work.
Any other questions for Brad? I'll defer to the city attorney. Craig, you've had an opportunity to review this. Any comments for the board?
No, none at all. It's exactly what Brad said it was. It's the LPA agreement with NDOT and during Safe Routes to Schools. It's their standard agreement.
Okay. Thanks, Brad. If there's not any more questions or comments, I'll ask for a motion to approve the agreement between NDOT and the City of Beech Grove pursuant to Safe Routes to School.
I do have one question. So I see that the funds allocated for the project is, from the federal funds, is a total of $312,460. How much city money do we have to put toward that?
20%.
20%.
That's on the second to the last page.
Thank you.
And let me add to that, at the present time, we've already, because we have some engineering cost and so forth, we've already spent about $45,000 on this. So it's in the process and moving forward. That is not reimbursable by NDOT. So altogether, we're still waiting on like 87,000 from the schools, which they partnered up with us that we should be receiving any time. But just so you know where we're at right now from the city, we've already spent approximately 45,000.
Thank you. So yes, I will make said motion.
I will second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I also vote aye, and the motion carries. Final order of business is the Little League Parade approval. And I'll ask the clerk to read the letter of request from the Little League.
Dear Mayor, Beech Grove Little League would like to have our annual Little League Parade on April 26, 2014. We would like to have step-off at 9 a.m. from Sarah Bolton Park to the Little League field. I believe the girls softball teams will be walking to their field as well. This is a wonderful tradition that our city has. Thank you for all your support. If you have any questions, contact Cindy Montgomery.
And they have included a certificate of insurance. You'll have to name us as additional insured. Questions or comments from board members?
I assume that their path from the park will be Churchman to Ninth, and then the Churchman to the middle school. It didn't really say per se, but I know they used to have it down Main Street, so.
Chief?
I haven't received their information on it, but I'm sure that it's going to be the same as last year. The Little League will follow Churchman to Ninth, south on Ninth to the Diamonds, and the softball will go out 13th north to the Diamonds.
Okay.
And it went real well last year.
I know that was the new route since Main Street was going to be tore up, so they like it so well they're going back.
I had some comments that it was a little bit shorter route for the younger kids, and they wouldn't get so tired if they had to play a ball game that day. And I think the setup area, we make it a little bit safer for them too, instead of in the street.
Sure.
Makes it easier for drop-off. And I appreciate the Little League doing that.
Yep, I do too. Thank you, Chief.
Any other questions or comments?
I have none.
If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve the request from the Little League.
I'll make said motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. We have one other item of business that is not on the agenda, and I'll ask the clerk to read the request into the record, please.
Okay, this is from Kathy Arsenault that lives at 810 Main Street. And last year, she paid for her handicap parking permit. And unfortunately, because Main Street was tore up almost the entire year, she felt like she should receive this year at no charge. So that's basically what we're doing. We are waiving any fees this year for you, for Ms. Arsenault for the previous year that you were not able to park on Main Street. Please accept our apologies for any inconvenience this may have caused. And that's basically what this is.
Comments from board members?
That sounds reasonable. Dan, do you anticipate having any others down on Main Street? Do you know?
I've not had anyone else request this. I don't even know if there's actually any handicap spots between 11th Street and Emerson Avenue, to my knowledge. I'm not
Okay.
aware of any, so
All right,
that would be the only one I would anticipate.
thank you.
All right. If there's not any other questions or comments, I'll ask for a motion to waive the fees for 810 Main Street for handicap parking.
I'll make said motion.
And I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. That concludes new business. Comments from board members?
I have none tonight.
Thank you.
If not, I ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make said motion.
And I'll second.
The meeting is adjourned at 6:35 PM. We will reconvene on Monday, April the 21st, in these chambers at 6 PM. Thank you.
So maybe I didn't pay attention.
Good morning, good evening. Welcome to the third and final meeting tonight. My name is Dennis Buckley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove, and at this time we will convene our City Council meeting for Monday, April the 7th. In lieu of a roll call, I will ask each participant to introduce themselves, beginning on my left. Dave?
Dave Mobley, Beach Grove City Council at Large.
John Jennings, District 4.
Dave Harrison, District 5.
Dan McMillan, Clerk Treasurer.
Craig Wiley, City Attorney.
Anthony Davidson, District 3.
Ed Bell, District 2.
Kathy Coates, District Council at Large.
Thank you, council. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Is anyone here from the Proclamation for Military Families? If not, I will only paraphrase the last paragraph, please. Now, therefore, I, Dennis Buckley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2014 as the month of the military child, and I hereby urge all citizens, business, and government leaders to observe the month with appropriate ceremonies and activity that honor, support, and thank military children. And I will make sure that those folks receive that over the next couple of days. We'll move on to the recognition of the Beech Grove Middle School girls basketball team. And at this time, Counselor Jennings and Athletic Director Richard Peak, could you come forward along with the team? If they could stand back here. Amy, could you come up as well?
Ladies, if you would you come right here, please? That way the cameras can see everybody. See them right there?
Is that right here, Amy? Right here?
Everybody.
You're supposed to sing.
Excellent, thank you very much.
We wanted to recognize an accomplishment that these gals did over the last couple of years. And besides being excellent basketball players, they're also excellent students and excellent kids. So I want to turn it over to their athletic director and have him go through what this group accomplished over the last 2 seasons. So, Mr. Peak?
If you came out and got to see us play, which believe me, we had some packed houses this year. I think when you win, you have people start coming in. As 7th graders, these guys went 20-0. I kind of challenged them at the banquet and told them about if we stay like we are and play as we did as 7th graders, we're going to struggle a little bit in the 8th grade season. So there was a challenge. I threw the gauntlet out there. I wanted to challenge them that you're going to have to be a lot tougher because everybody knows who you are now and they're going to come after you. And they did this year. They came after us. We kind of started out a little bit slow. We did lose one game there in out of our first 4. And then we went on to win, I believe, 14 straight games, including the Marion County Championship, where the Marion County tournament included 22 other teams from Marion County. And it was an outstanding effort by them. Very proud of that. That was a true test of playing against Marion County. And when you're talking Marion County, you're talking Ben Davis, you're talking Pike, you're talking Lawrence North, you're talking Franklin Central. So you're not talking about us playing some of the smaller schools. You're talking about us playing the best in the actual state of Indiana. The girls' final record ended up being in 2 years 38-1. We've got a whole trophy case full of trophies that they won. They won the Marion County Championship. They won the Conference Championship. They won the Fall Creek Valley Championships. So we've had a lot of hardware that these girls have achieved over in the last 2 years. Very proud of them. Coach Parker, I was going to say Gerald's again. Coach Parker here, she came in. It's her first year actually coaching her own team on her own. I threw them there. I said, hey, it's going to be tough. You've got a lot, it's tough to follow 20-0. There's only one direction you can go when the team's 20-0, and she was able to keep them there, and at the end of the year, we were just blowing people out, and it was just kind of amazing to watch. So the girls did an outstanding job. All the credit goes to them and what they did. And now it's what they're going to do in high school. If they stay where they are again, here's a new challenge. they're not going to do very well. They have to improve each and every day because everyone else is doing that. And they have to understand that. Somebody on this team is going to be beating them out for minutes played. That should happen. If it doesn't happen, that's when you aren't very good. So the challenge is there. People are going to be looking to beat them. We're going to step up and meet the challenge. I'm very proud of them, very proud of our parents. Did an outstanding job, best following you could have. I think our parents and our fans were at more away games than anybody else came to our place. So I'm very proud of the group and the entirety of everyone involved. So thank you very much, Mr. Buckley.
You're welcome, Mr. Peak, and Amy's the coach, her husband's the varsity girls coach, so some of you girls probably next year will meet him up close and personally. But tonight, we want to recognize you. Counselor Jennings has a plaque that the city would like to give to you. And John, could you read that for them, please?
Congratulations, City of Beech Grove. We'd like to congratulate the 8th grade Lady Hornets, Marion County basketball champions, conference champions, and Fall Creek Valley Invitational champs, February 24th, 2014, signed by the Mayor Dennis Buckley, the seal of Beech Grove. A nice round of applause for the girls. There you go. I'll present that to you. You can present to them or whatever you want to do.
All right.
Coach Parker?
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
Congratulations, girls.
Right the Ruby for me. She's a flat-out badass.
Really?
Yeah.
They got some height on that thing. Really? Wow.
Her brother was a leading scorer for the varsity last year.
What's her last name?
Cardenas, Joey Cardenas' little sister.
Let me darn.
All right, we'll go ahead and continue. If you're going to speak tonight, be careful when you come up here, it's wet.
What did you say?
Council members, in your packet, you should have a letter from Terry Billner. Terry was appointed to the RDC by you folks. Terry has had a sudden health issue, and he will no longer be able to continue. So he has resigned his position, and now it will be up to the council to replace him. So at this time, I'll defer to the council president for consultation. Ed?
Thank you, Mayor. Let's make it official. I'd like to read his letter of Terry. Thank you for the opportunity to serve on the Beech Grove Redevelopment Commission. Unfortunately, I now find that my health issues will not prevent me from continuing, and I must resign this position. I would like to recommend to you my wife, Mac Bellmer, is very interested in serving on the Redevelopment Commission. She is currently a graduate in graduate school and will be available for serving in May of 2014. She can be reached at her number or via email. Thanks again for the opportunity. I continue to be interested in the support of the city of Beech Grove. Sincerely, Terry Bellmer. Council, I believe what we'll do, we'll have to open it up again for nomination and do it again for next month. I guess I'll put Mac Bellmer in, but I also have a gentleman that has said that he'd be interested. He is currently on the BZA, and he understands that he would have to step down from the BZA if he would get appointed to the RDC. His name is Rick Greenfield, so I'll put that on the floor for you guys to contact him. I'll give you his information tomorrow. He is a realtor, as well, so just give you a heads up on that. So I turn the floor back over to the mayor.
All right, thanks, Ed. Council members, you have been presented the minutes of the previous meeting. This time, the floor is open for questions, comments, or corrections.
I have read and understand the Beech Grove City Council meeting and public hearing minutes from March the 3rd. I motion we accept as written.
I'll second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. We'll move on to public comments. Counselor?
Yes, first person to sign up to speak this evening is Joe Griffin.
How many do you have, Craig?
Pardon?
How many? How many signed up?
Just two?
Thank you.
3 minutes, Mr. Griffin.
All righty. My name's Joe Griffin, 65 South 17th Beech Grove, Indiana. I think most of you know who I am. I'm here to talk on ordinances 2 and 4 tonight. On the sewer stuff, everybody keeps reading through this. We're all talking about facilities. I didn't know Beech Grove had any facilities for holding storm water or anything, and actually cleaning it on the pollution end. One of the things I got running on that is exactly how much money are we going to actually raise on that? We should have a good estimate of what's going to happen on that stuff. We heard that it was all going to be spent on sewer and sewer only, but, we were told that on the bonds. Is this meeting being televised live right now? That was part of that bond money. Is there security cameras down the park? That was part of that bond money. So if we're not televising live or anything else, because we were guaranteed that money was going to be used for that kind of stuff. So set something up and let us know exactly what we're going to go for, what's the equipment and everything else that you have to have in hand. We're getting feed to death on everything. Granted, I feel sorry for them poor folks that were all here last week. There's plenty of it. Are you going to feed us on the chuck holes coming up next? We've got a lot of different odds and ends, because you said it would happen with the balanced budget, but we got a 41% circuit breaker coming up on the estimate. That's going to be tough. That's going to be real tough with the 41% circuit breaker estimate coming up. Plus what was ever passed in the legislature there, and they're cutting down on the local spending big time. The open door policy, you guys held a closed door meeting, basically, and the open door policy states that if you have a group that you set aside for a meeting that's going to actually develop policy and everything else, they have to follow the exact same guidelines as the unit that did it. So we never seen any minutes or days posted. We're talking about transparency. Local government that is working for its citizens needs to be anything open and honest. There should be nothing to hide. If decisions being made represent the spirit of the people's interest, there should be no need to avoid public scrutiny. Policy or law that is developed behind closed doors is nothing more than special interest and personal agendas with little consideration for its citizens. We also heard that 2009, there was about $2 million that was being spent, and 70% of that was going out for local interests other than what was there for. What happened? Put aside between 2 to 5% of the money that was collected on the sewer fees, work with the federal government, and apply for federal funding. That was all the stuff that we were told. I don't see any of that happening. We can't blame any of the citizens that were sitting there and on that council, on those meetings. That's up to the council to go ahead and ensure that stuff was done. Ed, you were at that meeting with the open door council there, and he stated that quite openly. All that stuff going.
Mr. Griffin, it's almost been 3 minutes. Can you wrap it up, please?
For the public policy on the nuisance stuff, I seen 30-some people jump out and get in a big fight in my mom's house. 30-some people out in the streets fighting. I suggest we take that policy that was being pushed, the Speedway policy, and use all of it. 30-some people out in the streets fighting. Kevin Russell was out there trying to break it up. We had 3 telephones in my house calling in. Next thing you know, there was about 8 or 10, and we couldn't get through because we were going through Indianapolis. Remember what happened behind closed-door policies on that end? We lost our dispatch. We could have had them there quickly, but I give the police officers this much. When they did finally get there, they did take action. The biggest problem was we couldn't get dispatch to believe there was a problem. You know, 30-some people coming out. So with this rental property stuff, enforce the whole Speedway thing. Take it all intact. I'm
Thank you,
done.
sir.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Tori Ressler?
Thank you. Thank you.
Ma'am, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. I was asked to speak on behalf of the family. Obviously, it's still an extremely emotional time for everyone right
Speak your
now.
name, please, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. My name is Angela Downey. I'm here with Tori and Marcella and Damon. But obviously, right now it's still extremely emotional time. And I'm here speaking on Ordinance 98. So I thank the gentleman for bringing that up and leading me right into my segue here. But basically, I want to make sure that we understand that we're not targeting the landlords here. We are actually kind of saying we want to educate them. We want to help them. We want to help them, protect their investment. So if you think about it, I know what it takes to go into and rehab a home and then to watch it be destroyed by people coming in and out. Well, why not go through some free workshops? Why not do some free credit report pulling? Or I guess if you do want to spend the money, you do have software options available to you where you can then find better options for your renters. In turn, all that's going to do is save you money over the long run. You're not having to pay those repairs. You're not having to pay to have it cleaned. You're not having to advertise that it's available again. So these workshops, which is in the packet that Tori handed out, we can compile and hand out as many as you'd like. We are even willing to put together a meeting here if they want to come in and ask questions. We'd be more than willing to help them out. Because what we want to do is we want a better Beech Grove. We want people to move back to Beech Grove. And we want people to stay in Beech Grove. And until we can actually control the landlords and make them do what's right by getting good tenants in their homes and protecting, ultimately, their investment, then I think we can do that with Ordinance 98.
Ask you a question.
Sure.
How many rental properties do you own?
Personally, I have owned 2 in my life.
How many do you own now?
I don't own any right now.
I own rental property. I am a landlord.
Good.
I've been to the workshops that the prosecutor and everybody puts on. It's garbage.
Well, the reviews that are actually out there on the class, many are saying that the return on investment is extremely phenomenal for them.
You can rent to somebody that's got perfect credit, no criminal record, no nothing, and as clean can be. But once you get them in there, what they do could be 2 different things.
Sure, they have no vested interest in that then.
Right.
I understand. But if you also earlier on Fox 59, they showed a news program about how we have all of these secret credit scores, but they're not credit related. They're more like how often you're going to change your cell phone plan, how often you're going to change your banking account, how often you're going to file bankruptcy, how often you're going to rent. And coming into the day and age now, more people are renting than they are owning a home. That American dream of owning a home is not really the case anymore. Renters are here to stay and they're growing by masses. So I really think because some people are jumping into this, kind of wet behind the ears, not really knowing what to expect or what to do, this is a good option for them. Somebody like you who's probably a very tenured landlord, or some of the other individuals that I've seen in here that seem to be representing the good side of the landlords, those people aren't really who we're talking about. We're talking about the individuals that may be brand new to it, that don't know what to do, that don't know there's resources. Kevin spoke to a landlord about, I think, the little, brawl in the street. And he spoke to the landlord, and Kevin goes, "You need to evict them." And the landlord said to him, "How do you evict someone?" Well, I'm sorry, but that should throw up a red flag.
Well, tell me, how do you evict someone?
What?
I can tell you what the process is.
Perfect.
It takes you 4 months to get them evicted.
It sure does.
I know it
It does sometimes, but at least you get the ball rolling and you already know how to do that. And a lot of individuals don't.
Downtown at the small claim courts, they know me by first name.
Dave, we'll
Do you
let
get
her
the
wrap
special
up, please.
door?
Yeah, let her wrap up.
So basically, all in all, we want to provide resources to the individuals that are trying to better Beech Grove. And by supporting Ordinance 98, I think that sets a precedence and says we care about Beech Grove and we want nothing but better individuals in here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak that did not sign the sheet? If not, we will move on to committee reports. Greenscape Commission.
Good evening. Tim Latimer, Beech Grove Greenscape Commission. At our last meeting on the 17th, March 17th, as you may already know, Sister Sheila Fitzpatrick joined the Greenscape Commission. She is replacing Jackie Brown. We spent a great deal of time that evening talking about the function and the goals of the Greenscape Commission and kind of just bringing Sister Sheila up to speed. Sister Sheila Fitzpatrick also serves with Dave Miller on the steering committee for the Peace and Nature Garden being installed on the grounds of the Benedictine Inn. Projects for the Greenscape Commission this summer will include taking inventory of the new trees on Main Street. We will begin this as soon as the leaves come out. Updating our tree inventory to include some new trees other than Main Street that were planted last year, and deleting some trees that have been removed over this harsh winter. We plan on reviewing and inspecting the remaining trees on our hazard tree list. As you know, we had Davy Group come out and help identify hazardous trees. So now we need to go back and look at those trees. Many of them have been removed. We want to go back, look at the status of those trees. Have they gotten worse? And then we need to let our DPW know about that. We will consider developing a tree maintenance plan for portions of our park and street trees. And of course, we will continue to inspect trees for the emerald ash borer. The Greenscape Commission will plan on attending the community meeting at the Benedictine Center to help kick off the Peace and Nature Garden, and that's going to be on Tuesday, May 13th at 5:30. We have a couple of ideas for an Arbor Day planting in October, but we've not settled on anything yet. Once again, Beech Grove was recognized as a tree city. I believe, according to Dave Miller, I believe this is the 9th year for this award. The Parks Board, the Promoters Club, and the Greenscape Commission would like to encourage all citizens to participate in spring cleanup activities. We would like to remind those groups who have adopted streets to get organized, get out, and help spruce up Beech Grove. The annual Spring Cleanup Day is Saturday, April 19th. I should say our annual Spring Cleanup Day is Saturday, April 19th. The Promoters Club will be picking up trash along Main Street and the alleyways. Anyone interested in helping should bring a pair of gloves and meet us at 4th and Main at 7 o'clock. That is Saturday, April 19th, 7 a.m. It usually takes less than 2 hours to clean up Main Street, and afterwards we may talk John Morgan into buying breakfast for everybody.
We'll go ahead and wish everybody Merry Christmas.
At 10 o'clock, volunteers are needed at Sarah Bolton Park to help pick up sticks and limbs, spread mulch, and do whatever else Tom Hannon tells us to do. And let's see, I think that's it. Our next meeting will be the 21st at a new time. Now, this is 5 o'clock, and I don't know if I mentioned that before or not in my last report. But that's a new time. Normally, we meet at 6. We've changed that to 5. So our next meeting is Monday, the 21st, at the Hornet Park Community Center. As always, the public is welcome to attend. Do you have any questions for me? Okay.
No, thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
Redevelopment Commission, Don?
Evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Redevelopment Commission, this is
Don, could you give me your name every time?
Donald Webb.
Thank you.
Sorry, I just got back from Williamsburg, so I got car lag. We met last month, March 20th, and a couple things we have is first, the NRP group did win the housing grant and tax credits from the state of Indiana to develop the rock pile. So that hopefully will start taking place the first quarter of 2015. The immediate concerns is we have a $159,000 brownfields grant, which will expire on the 23rd of this month. We are trying to get that extended because we are not sure if we can get the remediation work, which that grant money will qualify for, done in that time, because we are now on a short time because NRP group didn't find out till the end of February. But we're working with Hull and Associates and the NRP group to try to get that going so they can do it. That's the first bit of good news. So we may start seeing something going on the rock pile and finally get done calling it the rock pile and actually have a development there for seniors. And it looks like it'll be pretty nice. So this group has done good work at the other developments they've had. They take care of their developments, and the demand for it, this should sell out probably before it's even finished building. So there's strong demand for senior housing. I think this will be a definite feather in the cap for the city of Beech Grove and bring in some new housing. The second thing last month we talked about, we trained new lawyers. We are with Lewis and Capps now, and Robert Rund, who many of you in Beech Grove knew his father if you went to Beech Grove. He is now our legal counsel, and he has a couple of gentlemen that work for him that will be helping us so that in future the RDC can make sure we do things correctly and that everything is above board and correct. So those are the main two things. The other things we did, which we'd welcome city council members as well as the general public to our meetings, is we're discussing ideas that can make Beech Grove better, that the RDC can take on. One of our members, Kathy Chappell, discussed the RDC looking into it, and this is where our legal help will come in. How could we build a procedure to take houses that have been left at tax sale or not sold that are sitting there idle? How could the RDC maybe get those houses, put a small amount of money into them, fix them up, and then maybe grant them or sell them to new families, young families that would make a commitment to live in Beech Grove, say, for a period of 10 years. So we bring in more stable people and we get people to come into Beech Grove. That was her idea. Another member had talking about possibility of an amphitheater. Janice King, who's also on the school board, she discussed, and this would be something we'd come back to you members of the council with, is fixing up the storefronts, getting better signage on them, making them more attractive, and trying to work with local business so that downtown Beech Grove has a little better visibility and looks a little better to the general public. And then my idea, of course, was fixing up the 465 Emerson exit for the Beech Grove brand. One of the things I noticed on my trip through Virginia and West Virginia is the highways in those areas are very beautiful. They plant grasses that come up year after year. They have mulch, and they're very, very good looking to the eye. And one of the things I noticed is people like myself tended to stop at the exits that looked nicer than the exits that looked run down. And I've checked with Representative Kirkoffer, who's our House representative, and she informed me that IDOT right now has put out $86 million in grant money. So now that I'm back, I'm going to be looking into that to see if there's some way we can get some of that grant money or do something like that to where we could, like my idea would be, we got that huge concrete wall. Wouldn't it be neat to have a mural of an old Penn Central train and, maybe have the Hornet logo on the bridge or something like that? And one of the things that I know my company, Eli Lilly, does in the fall is they have a Lilly Helping Hands where we put out 15,000 volunteers. So, if we could coordinate that, it would be possible that we could get volunteers to plant the grasses, the trees, and other things to beautify the highway, which would save money. So those are a few of the things we're looking at. And then one of the final things that the mayor brought to us is there were 4 streets that are in TIF or on TIF zones or near TIF zones that he would like to have repaved. And so Kathy Chappell is talking to the engineers as well. I can only remember 2 of them, Mr. Mayor. One of them was the alley behind 17th where the subway is that runs up to the credit center. That, and then 17th to 18th on Buffalo was also in disrepair. So we're going to take a look at those. Again, I think those are good things that if we have the money and we can help, good roads are important to any community. And one thing you don't want to have is bumpy roads when you're having people come through your town to look at maybe buying a house or doing business. So those are the things we've been looking at. And as always, we welcome all of you to our meeting. If there are any questions at this time, I'd be happy to answer them.
Yes, Don. Getting back to that development.
Yes, sir.
The rock pile, you said senior housing. Is it just going to be senior housing, or?
That's what I
they
understand
have,
it to be.
Health facility there too?
They're going to have a clubhouse and like a clubhouse/activity center. Originally, it was 76 units, but the problem we have and where the remediation is coming in, the back part of that lot, there's PCBs that have been buried there. And because they have been buried there, they are toxic and you're not allowed to build on them. The only way you can deal with them and build on it is if you remove it. There's about a half an acre of it that's not too bad that we're looking at the possibility of cleaning that so it would fit better and they'd have more like green space there, but they will have to hard cap at least a half an acre to protect the people living there and just in general from the PCP. So, I mean, those are things that again, that this remediation is looking at. But the borings, which we did back in March, those came back clean on the general property. So the general property itself is ready to go. But right now, their group is surveying it and laying out the land on how they're going to have to grade it and all that. And that's where, you know, removing the PCB contamination will come in. And that's why we're asking for an additional 30 days, or we're going to try to get an additional 30 days.
Don, I have a couple questions. One, did you get was there an actual formal bid process for the Wi-Fi removal?
We did not get a formal bid, but the problem with that is the company that put them up, IPL, because it's on their poles and it's their show, we have to go to an IPL approved vendor. So in removing Digital City and Wi-Fi, Mead Electric is who they recommend. And we've got these units that are on high poles that I'm going to have to contact a different company because you have to be a certified climber to go up these things. Not that I would ever go up them as it is, but we're going to have to get a bid on that as well to remove those. Now I was talking to Lee, and one of the things he said is that those units have some value to them, but he said if we wanted to, as the RDC, we could give one of those units to the city of Beech Grove, and it would dramatically boost the Wi-Fi capability of Beech Grove. It would help out the city. So that's something else we're looking into as well. But right now, Mead, they will not start on the removal of Digital City till June.
But there was no formal bid process with that, correct?
There was no formal bid.
There is a city ordinance that anything over 10,000 has to be bid out to at least three vendors.
Well, I mean, I'll talk to our attorneys about it, but here's my problem, is if IPL only has one approved vendor, who am I going to get to bid that is not licensed or can do that bidding?
You got to show me at least more than one bid, though.
But what I'm saying, Anthony, is if I have XYZ Electric and they bid at $8,000, that's great. They're the cheaper bidder, but they're not IPL approved. IPL will not let them on their polls. So what do I do? How do I get those units down if they cannot?
I didn't say you had to go with the cheapest one. I'm saying
Well, I just have to. So
actually
you want me to
follow
get 3 bids?
the bid
Okay.
process.
Well, we'll put out a bid. Now, what if nobody comes back on the bids? Do I have to find people and say, can you bid on work you can't do?
I believe so, just as long as you show that you.
I'd ask the city attorney, and I'll ask our attorneys to follow up on that. I want to
Okay, and the second one is there's streets in here that I'm not sure are exactly in TIF districts that you're wanting to repave. So I'd caution you on that before the next meeting to research that a little bit more.
Well, the meeting, I've talked to the mayor on that, and we will look at those streets as well. Again, we're researching it now. But which street would you be talking about where that was not in the TIF?
I believe, see the alley between 17th and 18th.
Which he just pointed out.
And the I'll have to research a little bit more, but I just want to caution you.
Well,
to
I mean,
make sure that-
we're not going to approve anything. Like I say, right now, we've got Kathy looking at the costs, and we're going to look at the costs, and again, we will look at if they are, that's something else. Again, that's why we hired lawyers. Before we go and approve anything like that, because, you know, a rough guesstimate would be around $180,000 to $220,000 in paving. Before we even think about sending that, we will run it by our lawyers to make sure that these streets are in a TIF district and they are something that the RDC can do. And again, we still have to discuss it among the members. This was preliminary. We were bringing ideas to the board to discuss on how to improve Beech Grove. It wasn't that, I mean, the Mead Electric, I didn't realize we had a council ordinance for 3 bids, but if we do, I'll work on how do we get that out there and how do we do that to make sure that we do comply with the law. But in talking to Louise, and I can't remember her last name, she told me Mead Electric is their preferred vendor for doing this, and this is who does it for the city of Beech Grove, or who does it for IPL. And the other thing I can do, if it is a problem, is we can just not take down the telephone poles. Beech Grove has 17 telephone poles we installed that were high. Now, they're not, they could just sit out there, they're on Beech Grove land, so they're not hurting anybody. But my thought was, and when I talked with members of the RDC board, is it'd be better to remove them to make the property look better than to have a telephone pole with nothing on it standing there. But that's $300 a telephone pole, so 300 times 17 is, what, $5,100? So we could also, if the council likes, we could also look at just not doing that and just removing the digital components. Again, we work for you. I work for the council because you guys appointed me. So I mean, our next meeting is April 17th. I welcome feedback for you guys on what you think we should be doing, because we like your input too. Because again, we got to work together as a team if we're going to make Beech Grove better. And if you don't want to spend in this money, come to the meeting and explain why you don't or think it's a bad idea, because that's how democracy is supposed to work. And I would love to see you guys there, because, you know, I've driven the street. I went and drove 3 of the streets Mayor Buckley spoke of, and yeah, they are a little rough. The entrance to the parkway, I've heard many of people complain about that entrance, and it is rough. Now, you know, if, you know, it's part of the Greenway, but if you guys, hey, we don't need to be spending this money, you know, that's something I think the RDC will take into account and value your opinion.
All right, thanks, Don. Any questions for Don?
I have a comment.
Please.
I just want to thank you very much for your efforts in trying to get things done with your position. To me, those what do you call those? The thing for the Wi-Fi?
Digital City.
Digital City are eyesores throughout the whole city. I can't wait to get them down. If I had the money, I would say here. Because they are.
Don't say that too loud, because the mayor or somebody else may come looking for you for the money.
But thank you for looking into that, and I hope that you find somebody, you know, I guess through the right channels.
Yes.
As has been pointed out, that can bid and get those down and move right along. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Like I say, we're all on the same team here, and we all want to make the city of Beech Grove better. We may come at it from different angles, but at the end of the day, I hope all of us are here to make this a better city and community.
Absolutely, and I appreciate your effort.
Thank you, ma'am.
I've got one last question, or maybe to the clerk treasurer. Aren't we paying monthly
Well,
for something?
we were as of last month, and the RDC started paying about $320 some roughly a month to IPL for these things sitting on the poles that we are not using. And so once he enters into an agreement with Mead, IPL will quit billing us for these. But until that time, there's going to be a bill every month on that.
And one of the things that Mr. McMillan's point is IPL, we had a 5-year contract with them. And one of the things that they are being generous in letting us out of that contract. And in talking to Louise, once we have the purchase order and we are scheduled to go ahead with the work, even though we don't have them down, IPL has said they will stop billing us for that. So, you know, it'll save some money, $320 at least in May and June. So, I mean, again, IPL is working with us, and that's teamwork there.
And to back up what Donald said, I and Jill Griffin originally went forward with Mead Electric. I contacted themselves over a year ago, and we had a bid at that time, which is about half of what it is today. So we're at their mercy, and I will say what he said, no one is allowed on their poles with the exception of Mead. It's the only subcontractor that they will allow on them.
So we're actually talking private property.
Exactly. They own the poles.
Other than the 17 that the city of Beech Grove had, and again, we can save money by not pulling those out, but I would ask you, council members, you know, you want those poles left on Beech Grove property. They're tall and there will be nothing on them. If we want to save the money, we don't have to take those down, but my feelings from the council members and other people is that they'd be an eyesore as well. So that's where I would, you know, again, April 17th, I would ask for feedback on if you think that's important to take those down or not. I don't have a problem saving the money, but if people want their community to look better or think their community will look better without them, then I would like to take them down.
And again, if we're at their mercy and we have no other alternative than to use Mead, rather than just flushing that money down the toilet, I say go for it. But that's just me. That's just my opinion.
I'm with you, ma'am.
Now, doesn't these tall poles have any value once they're
They do
down?
have some
Can they
value,
sell
but
them, or-
anybody want a 35-foot telephone pole?
I mean,
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Ed, and I'm going to try to follow up with IPL. Now, one of the things they initially told me is that they would be happy to recycle them for us, but I didn't get the feeling from IPL that they'd necessarily be willing to give us money for them. So I will follow up and see if there is a demand. I will talk to IPL to see if they can take them or they would take them or give us something for them. But at this point, I think our goal, the RDC's goal, is to get out of Digital City, get it down, and try to close that chapter in the history of Beech Grove as a oops. So,
Amen. Amen. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Webb.
Very quickly,
Yes, sir.
you mentioned houses that didn't go through on the tax sale. Approximately, how many of those houses are there in Beech Grove?
This happened last fall, and I heard different numbers, but I've heard 100 at one time that did not go through. Again, I'd want to verify that number, and I'd also want to, like I say, make sure we set this up. But, you know, if there's a house that hasn't paid taxes and it's sitting there delinquent and no one buys it, I think there's an opportunity for your Beech Grove RDC to buy that property, put $5,000, $10,000 into it, and see if we can't sell it for $20,000 with a house having a value of, say, $50,000.
Right.
And, you know, if we could find a young couple who have kids, who are stable, you know, maybe that helps Beech Grove demographically.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen, Mr. Mayor.
Can I ask one thing quickly? Are you the president of the RDC now?
Yes, ma'am.
Congratulations, and thank you for that report. That was the best report I've ever heard from a RDC president. So, thank you.
Very good.
Thank you, ma'am. Don't make me blush. Thank you, Dave.
Please.
We'll call up the youth council now. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm Michael Jennings, and this is Bailey Leahy, and we're here on behalf of the High School Student Leadership Council. And I think I talked to the council 2 months ago in February. This past month, the students of the month are Macy Williams and Jordan Sloan, and then for C9 it was Taylor Poindexter and Noah Wheatley. And the high school's educator of the month was Mr. Clevenger in February and Gay Osis in March, and they both work in the administration, in the front office. And Hoosier Boys State is coming up, and Babe has more information on that.
Hoosier Boys and Girls State is an opportunity for junior boys and girls to get involved in their local and county and state and government. And they get to participate in legislative sessions, courts, and law enforcement and presentations. And this year's candidates are Allison Rehart, Destiny Elson, Evan Smiley, and Mitchell Showalter.
So congratulations to them on that. And Beech Grove Athletics had a big few months recently. Kayla Kaiser, at the winter sports has just concluded. So Kayla Kaiser was named to the Indiana Crossroads Conference All-Conference team. She was also invited to the top 60 workout in the state, which is a big deal no matter what sport it is. In boys basketball, Caleb Chumley and Joey Cardenas were named honorable mention All-Marion County, which if you know, boys basketball in Marion County is very competitive. So that's a big award. So Joey Cardenas was also selected to play in the Eric Gordon City County All-Star Game. So that's another big accomplishment for him. And Lizzie Miles, who attends Beech Grove, she competed in the 2014 state gymnastics meet at Marion High School, and she was the state champion in vault, which is obviously a huge thing to become state champion. She's all around second place in the state, which is also a huge deal.
The Riley Dance Marathon, we had that in March, I believe, and it was coordinated by Karen Matthews, the senior counselor. We raised over $2,000 for the Riley Hospital for Children.
And lastly, Don Henderson has retired from Beech Grove Middle School and High School. He worked in both places. And his last day is Friday, April 11th, and he's been like the go-to maintenance guy. So he's like known around the schools and everything like that. So we're sad to see him go. And congratulations to Dr. Keeley. He has been, by his peers, notified that he is the 2014 Indiana Association of School Businesses Officials School Business Official of the Year. So that's a big deal, and he'll be recognized at the May 8th Awards banquet held in French Lick, Indiana. So congratulations, Dr. Keeley. And lastly, I'd just like to say that like the whole point of this student leadership thing is to like gather information from the school and give it back to like Mr. Cox, the principal of the school, and also the administration to try and get like the students' point of view on what we can do better in school and like what's going well. And so we've gotten some good turnout from that. Like with the dance marathon and other like events, like sporting events, stuff like that. So it's going well. And if I have any questions.
Yes, I have. When are your meetings and what time?
They are the first Friday of every month, and so we have one coming up soon. And it is during our lunch. So we take lunch and resource. So we have about an hour, and it is usually from 10:50 to 11:50 is our lunch, and they're in the high school conference room. So yeah, more than welcome to come listen in on that.
I believe one of the subjects you've been talking about is school dress code.
Yes, we've been talking about that.
Has there been any groundbreaking information shared about school dress codes?
I don't believe so. I think that's also like kind of going into the new school community council, which Dr. Kaiser has created recently to get feedback from the parents as well as from the students. But I'm not sure on any breaking news. If you know
The survey was, I don't know if it's ended yet, but it was like sent out to us, the students, probably 3-4 weeks ago. And I know a lot of the students voted. I don't know, I haven't heard anything from the parents. But on that was the dress code, figuring out the days for the end of the year, the snow like makeup days, which I think our two options at this point are adding 30 to 35 minutes to the end of the days or the 3 days at the end of the school year. And I'm not sure what they've chosen for that or the dress code. I think in our meetings, we're leaning, like just the leadership team is leading towards a stricter dress code, not necessarily like uniforms, but it's not exactly up to us. But that's what we're leaning towards.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Mike, can I have a copy of your report? Saves me a little work. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Public safety. Rob or Mark?
Good evening, Mark Swartz, Police Chief. We had our public safety meeting March 26th, 9 a.m., City Hall. Most of the committee was here. We didn't have anybody else that showed up for the meeting. Our discussion was that we have a compliance officer. He is doing mostly fire safety at this time, and we're looking for any more compliance officers that want to apply. The applications are at City Hall. It was suggested that if there are any concerns about stop signs, that a twirly type of device could be put on top of the stop sign that's used on the interstate, an orange and white one that gets their attention. And if that comes up, I think we'd have to check with the street department, see if that's available to put on the signs. Not just a stop sign, maybe a school crossing sign or something of that might be of interest for the city to look into. The school crossing areas that need to be painted, I asked Brad from the street department. He said the planning is to have them painted, but they have to wait until the road temperature is a certain temperature for the paint to stick. The Little League and softball team parade is set for the end of this month at 9 a.m. It will leave out from the city park. The fire department, police department, and the parks and street department will coordinate that. And it went real well last year, leaving from the city park a lot safer for the kids.
Sarah T. Bolton.
Yes, I'm sorry, yeah. The Little League will leave out of there, go along Churchman to 9th and south to the Diamonds. The softball will go north on 13th to the Diamonds. Our next meeting is planned for April 30th, and it'll be at 6 p.m. in case anybody's interested in coming that might work during the daytime. It'll be here in City Hall.
Now, what was that again, Chief? I'm sorry.
Our next meeting will be at 6 p.m. instead of 9, in case there are people. It was suggested that we have one in the evening. So we'll see if we can get people there with suggestions, concerns that they might have. It'll be here at City Hall at 6 p.m., the last Wednesday of the month.
Thank you.
Any questions for the chief? Thanks, Mark. Last report this evening, financial. Dan?
Counselors, we have made two payments totaling $45,914.52 to Crossroads Engineers towards the Safe Routes for School project. We have two additional appropriations on the agenda tonight. The additional appropriations for the LRS is due to the increased salt purchase, which was over $34,000, and the additional costs associated with plowing due to the severe winter we had. Jeff Peters, financial consultant for the city, agrees there are additional funds available for this appropriation. The additional appropriation for MVH is to purchase a new leaf machine. The leaf machine we are replacing is 22 years old. Again, after consulting with Jeff Peters, we both agree that we have the funds available for the purchase. We have received an increase of over $11,000 in our monthly distributions from MVH. During a consultation with Lynn Reckowig, our IT contractor, he advised us that the updates needed to be made to our computer and phone system to increase functionality and security. One upgrade alone is $12,870 for a 3-year license. Over the past 2 years, we have been trying to update our computer, software programs, email program, phone systems, and security, since much of it was out of date. So next month, I will be asking the council to transfer money to cover the cost of the $12,780. But I need to evaluate the budget to determine where additional funds may be available to use for this project. I just want to give the council the heads up on this. I am not tech savvy, so if the council wishes, I can ask Lynn to attend next month's council meeting to answer any questions anyone may have regarding the updates. The city website continues to be a success and is provided at no cost to the taxpayers. We continue to have wonderful volunteers that assist with updating and posting. We have 2 community-related informational pages available. Please, if you have any community events that you would like posted, email those to me at dan.mcmillan@beechgrove.com. We try to get those posted the same day. You can check them out at the links below. And the financial reports, city debt schedules, bank statements, and all are available on the city website. So I'm not going to bore you with each individual number, but this report's been passed out to all the council with bank balances.
Any questions for the clerk? If not, we'll move to unfinished business carried over from the previous meeting. General Ordinance Number 1, 2014 was voted on and passed on second reading, then it was tabled. This evening, it has been requested to bring it back for third reading, so at this time, I will ask for a motion that allows the ordinance to be heard on third and final reading only.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. At this time, I'll defer to Councilor Davidson for an amendment to General Ordinance Number 1.
Okay. First, just like to, I think all the counselors have this sheet that I passed out before the meeting. It's the amendment that Judge Wells and I were talking about the last meeting. And just like to add that in, if you look on the second page there where it says 33.42, the funding of the program, that's exactly replacing everything there with what I had originally put.
Questions or comments?
I have a comment. Paragraph D, the common council make additional appropriations as it sees fit to fund the program. I caution the council on that wording because there's got to be money there for them to be able to do an additional appropriation.
Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll ask for a motion to amend Chapter 33, subsection 42.
Again, I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. General Ordinance Number 1, 2014 is up for third and final reading. And at this time, I will ask the clerk to read the entire ordinance into the record.
General Ordinance Number 1, 2014. Whereas the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove has codified certain ordinances comprising the Beech Grove City Code of Ordinances, and whereas the City of Beech Grove, through its police department, is charged with providing for the public safety, and whereas the City of Beech Grove collects revenue through its Safe Driver Deferral Program, and whereas the Beech Grove Police Department does not currently have a traffic and/or public safety division or program. Now therefore be it ordained that the Common Council desires to establish the Beech Grove Public Safety Program. Now therefore be it further ordained that the Common Council desires to amend Chapter 33 of the Code of Ordinances as prescribed as follows. Add Chapter 33 Beech Grove Public Safety Program. The Common Council hereby establishes the Beech Grove Public Safety Programs as set forth herein. Add Section 33.40, Establishment of Program. A, in an effort to increase public safety, the City Police Department is authorized and delegated to develop and implement a public safety program. B, the program shall provide additional overtime opportunities for officers of the City Police Department. C, officers participating in the program shall conduct patrols focused exclusively on the enforcement of the Beech Grove Code of Ordinances in accordance with the program's metrics. E, all citations and/or tickets that result from the program shall be filed in the Beech Grove City Court. F, the program shall not replace or be in contravention of existing state laws or programs, but shall be complementary to and in aid of such laws or programs. Add Section 33.41, administrating the program. A, the program shall be administrated by the administrator. B, the administrator shall be the chief of police or his designee. C, the administrator shall establish the metrics of the program. D, on a monthly basis, the administrator will determine the number of hours the program will be available. D, and there's two Ds for some reason, participating officers will be compensated at the respective overtime rate. Add Section 33.42, funding the program. Upon passage of this ordinance, an appropriation of $5,000 shall be dispersed from the city's general fund to establish the program.
Dan, read this.
Okay. Add chapter 33, subsection 42, funding of program. A, 25% of all monies collected through the Beech Grove Safe Driver Deferral Program from the preceding year shall be appropriated to fund the program. B, the Beech Grove Police Department annual budget shall include an additional overtime line item that corresponds with the appropriation for the program. C, the program may not provide overtime opportunities in excess of the program's funding. D, the Common Council may make additional appropriations as it sees fit to fund the program. Now therefore be it ordained that the Common Council has found it just to establish the Beech Grove Public Safety Program. Now therefore be it further ordained that the Common Council desires to amend Chapter 33 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove. Now therefore be it further ordained that this ordinance shall go into effect 30 days after passage of the Common Council, attested by the Clerk Treasurer and signed by the Mayor.
Thank you, Dan. Motion to, General Orders number 1, 2014, motion to approve on third and final reading.
I'll make said motion as amended.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. Please register your vote.
Go ahead, I'll get this down too.
Next order of unfinished business is General Ordinance number 2, 2014, on second reading. This time I'll ask for a motion to waive the rules and read the General Ordinance number 2, 2014 by title only.
I'll make said motion, sir.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. General Ordinance number 2 is up for second reading this evening, and I will ask the clerk to read the ordinance by title only, please.
General Ordinance number 2, 2014. An ordinance to amend Title 5, Public Works, Chapter 50, Sewers of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, to establish policies and procedures for the stormwater utility and a stormwater user fee. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, that Title 5 Public Works of the Beech Grove, Indiana Code of Ordinance is hereby amended to add as follows.
Thank you, clerk. This time I'll ask for a motion to approve General Ordinance number 2, 2014 on second reading only.
I'll make said motion.
And I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign.
Aye.
6 to 1. This will be heard on third and final reading at the May 5th meeting. That concludes unfinished business. Under new business, General Ordinance number 3, 2014, first reading. Council, General Ordinance number 3, 2014 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 90 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove. This time I will defer to Councilor Davidson, who introduced the ordinance. Councilor?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilors, what you have in front of you is a totally revised Chapter 90, which is the animal ordinance for the city. I've been working on this for a while. I was contacted by a gentleman who was concerned about the vicious dog section, and then that kind of trickled into the rest of the chapter. If you have any questions on it, most of what I got was from the city of Lawrence and other corresponding cities. If you have any questions on it, feel free to ask.
Thank you, Councilor. At this time, the floor is open for questions or comments.
Yes. On the insurance for these dogs, is it expensive, or can we get it, or does it cover under homeowners? Do you know that? Vicious.
I have no idea. The liability insurance on the vicious dogs, it was stated several times. It's in Lawrence, it's in a couple other corresponding cities, and it's in Indianapolis as well. Not, I went with the Lawrence amount, though.
I don't know amounts or anything, but I know back several years ago, my son had a winky little dog. It wasn't vicious, it was stupid, but it did bite a child. And my homeowner's insurance said, do not file a claim about a dog bite on your home. I was advised strongly not to do that. So it was a matter of personal, private workout deal between me and the injured party. So, just FYI.
Just putting it out there.
I got, also, do you know how Lawrence and all these others are handling, knowing how many animals each other have?
The limit ones here are something that I did not change. Let's say exactly what's stated right now.
Okay.
It's something. It's something that I could not find in other cities.
Okay.
Lawrence did have a similar one, almost verbatim to ours. However, setting a limit is difficult to do. I imagine.
Any other questions or comments from counselors?
Do we still collect for the city for the dog tags or whatever?
The dog park?
For this, or
The
does
dog,
this do away with?
the dog permits and cat permits have been removed from this ordinance. But we will still collect from the dog park.
Why would you remove it?
Because nobody collects them.
Well, it's 50 cents for a cat, which doesn't even cover the administration on it, let alone the tag itself. Dan, how much is our tags, by chance?
They're close to $2.
Yeah. So it was either raise it, pretty, substantially from what it was, or eliminate it at all.
But the problem with that is you still have administrative costs, you got paperwork, you've got tags.
Yeah, so that $2.40 tag becomes probably $15.
Whatever, I mean,
10, 15.
as far as I'm concerned, I'm tying up resources to do this right now at a losing rate, and you want to completely do away with it, and I'm opposed to that as that department head.
Do we do a lot?
Yes. We probably do 8 hours a week with animals.
With tags?
With tags, dog park, different things like that. It's, right now it's a losing proposition, and it's really gonna be a losing proposition if this passes.
I'll make the motion that we pass general ordinance number 3, 2014 on first reading.
Hang on, let me do something.
Already.
What I would like to do, council, is I will entertain a motion to waive the rules to read by title only. Ask for a motion.
Make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. This time I'll defer to the clerk to read general ordinance number 3, 2014 on first reading by title only, please.
General ordinance number 3, 2014. General ordinance number 3, 2014 is an ordinance amending chapter 90 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana pursuant to animals. Whereas the last time the animal ordinance was updated was more than 10 years ago, and whereas the Common Council has determined that the current animal ordinance does not provide the desired level of protection of the public's health, safety, and welfare, and whereas the Common Council has determined that language within the animal ordinance must be consistent throughout, and whereas the Common Council desires to adopt comprehensive rules and regulations pertaining to the control of animals, thereby increasing the level of protection of the public's health, safety, and welfare for humans and animals alike. And whereas Chapter 90 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana must be amended to provide for the matter set forth herein.
Thank you. General ordinance number 3, 2014 is up for first reading this evening. I'll ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign.
Aye.
Did you vote, Dave?
Aye. Oh,
This one voted in favor, this one voted against.
Okay. I better get a recount. What,
No.
you vote no?
Yes.
no.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
5-2. We will hear this on second reading at the May 5th meeting.
Can amendments be made at that time?
Yes.
Of course. We'll pass everything on first reading in a minute. He'll have it better written by the time he gets back to us on second.
Okay.
General Ordinance Number 4, 2014 is up for first reading. General Ordinance Number 4, 2014 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 98 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove pursuant to public and environmental nuisances. Floor is open for questions or comments. Council have questions or comments?
I have a question.
Mhm.
I just for my own clarification, because I had that question on the dog animal ordinance, and so I'm still unclear. The enforcement of these ordinances, does it fall under police or the compliance or animal control?
Anything that has to do with an animal is through animal control. Some of these ordinances that are going to be introduced over the next couple of months will only be enforced by the police. This ordinance this evening will be enforced by compliance.
This one.
All of these ordinances that you're going to hear over the next couple of months will funnel through the city court,
Right.
and they will be under
And
ordinance violations.
They are ordinance.
Yes,
I mean compliance.
yes.
But, okay, so like, I guess I'm just trying to figure out, so that people, once they know that these ordinances are in fact, who do they report if they have a concern or want to have a question about the new ordinance, who do they, because they're.
There's already a Department of Compliance that's in place.
Okay.
The telephone number to call is 803-9099. It's not it's ready. We have one inspector.
Right.
Or one compliance officer already. We're going to have at least two more. They will work out of the front office here, and then they will,
City Hall.
yes. And then they will be going out and doing inspections.
Okay. I was just getting it all muddled in my head, so I want to make sure, because people's inclination is to call the police, and then I'm sure they would respond, police I'm referring to.
This
but then
ordinance
they would be told.
that was brought forward will be enforced by compliance.
Okay.
And then tickets issued will be directed to our city court.
All right.
And the judge has, can I defer to you for the judge comments?
Sure, absolutely. We went through the vetting process to make sure this passed the constitutional muster. There were some issues about that. Ordinarily, I wouldn't involve the court because the judge is going to be interpreting this ordinance, and there's a very similar one that is in place in Speedway. But I did get the judge's input, and this is what we come up with. So, again, I don't want to speak for the judge, but this is something that he signed off on and thought that it was something that we could enforce.
Council have any other questions or comments? If not, I will, what I would like to do is go ahead and waive the rules and read by title only due to its length. But the document is available for public examination on our website, and you can look at it when the meeting's over as well. So I'll ask for a motion to waive the rules to read by title only.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. General Ordinance Number 4, 2014 is up for first reading only this evening. I'll ask for a motion to approve, or a motion to introduce.
I'll make said motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll have to have the clerk read the first two sentences.
General Ordinance Number 4, 2014. General Ordinance Number 4, 2014 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 98 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove pursuant to public and environmental nuisances.
Thank you. Motion to approve.
I'll make said motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign.
Nay.
Passes 6-1. We will move to second reading at the September 5th meeting. Thank you.
May 5th.
Or May 5th, I'm sorry. I'm reading another document. I shouldn't do that. Sorry about that. May 5th meeting. The last ordinance and new business is General Ordinance Number 5, 2014. It's up for first reading this morning, or this evening. I'll defer to the clerk to introduce it.
General Ordinance Number 5, 2014. General Ordinance Number 5, 2014 is an additional appropriation ordinance concerning local roads and streets and motor vehicle highway categories of the 2014 budget. Whereas it has been determined that it is now necessary to appropriate more money than was appropriated in the annual budget. Now therefore be it ordained by the Beech Grove City Council, Beech Grove Civil City, Marion County, that for the expenses of the taxing unit, the following additional sums of money are hereby appropriated, transferred, or reduced out of the funds named and for the purposes specified, subject to the laws governing the same. Local roads and streets, $40,000. Motor vehicle highway, $42,000. Therefore, be it further ordained that $15,000 of court revenue be allocated to the LRS fund from the general fund to support the requested appropriations for the LRS fund. Therefore, be it further ordained that this ordinance shall go into effect immediately after passage by the common council, signed by the council president, attested by the clerk treasurer, and signed by the mayor.
Questions or comments from council members? If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve General Ordinance Number 5, 2014 on first reading only.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. We will hear that on second reading at the May 5th meeting. That concludes new business. This time we'll hear council comments, beginning on my far right. Dave?
No comment.
I'd like to congratulate the girls, basketball team, the girls' middle school basketball team. As most of you know, I'm quite the fan of basketball in general, and those girls were awesome. They were fantastic. They were fun to watch. They played well together. So all those times I said, go out and support your team. If you didn't get a chance to see them, they were very good. Hopefully they'll be just as competitive at the high school level. Also, the RDC appointment, if you know anybody or you yourselves are interested, contact one of us sitting up here. All the new blood we can get in, we love to have. We'd like to have everybody involved if we can. They do have a position available, and it sounds like if you don't want that position, the guy from the zoning committee comes over, then there'll be a position of zoning for you. So, volunteer often. We do have a position open. That's all I have.
Thank everyone for coming. I think we got a lot of things going on in the city that will really help. It may be some long, tedious work by a lot of people, but appreciate everybody's effort, and thanks for coming.
Hi. I would just like to put a plug in for the Little League Parade on April 26th. Starts in the park at 9 a.m. I'm looking forward to it this year. I'm actually helping coach. Dave's son and I are coaching this year, and so I'm my first year, so I'm looking forward to it.
Ed?
Well, first of all, whoever's got any brackets left at Utah, Kentucky, play tonight, but I was blown out way long ago. Anyway, I have a email that really is a major concern. It's a from an employee that's resigning. And it was to Dan McMillan and Debbie Springer and CC to myself, city attorney. I called her and she was very upset, and I guess I need to read it and then have to do some investigation on it. It said, good morning. Just wanted to let you both know I will no longer subject myself to bullying and unprofessional behavior. You to pick and choose who you want to be nice to, and even some of them, as soon as they are out the door, you have some negative comments to say. The second day I was there, I got yelled at for coming in at 9 as soon as I walked through the door. What if I wanted to take lunch, as I was told I could do? I originally was told 9 to 4, and I could handle straight talk and understand a business has to be run, but you really treat people terrible, and Debbie, you back him up. Then the last week, Debbie had me sit out in front all week long and had me continue to write what I was doing for every hour, which I am not too sure for whose benefit that was. But I was okay with it because it showed all that I really did do. Chris did not have to do it, which that's the gal in another department. It doesn't take 8 hours to find an issue in the system while I'm doing both of our jobs, and you're getting to jump up every time someone walks through the door and overrides what I say anyway. You both do not let people finish what they're saying before you cut them off and send them out the door and then talk crap about them. As far as my time and what I do, to me, Wednesday was unacceptable. I worked that time and I would get paid for it. You made me feel like I was cheating you out of something, and I was very cautious of what I did and what I worked, and I felt I had to emphasize this to Debbie on a few occasions. Example, I actually was there till 4:30 on Monday because I had an important phone call that I had to take for 15 minutes. I'm not sure who is really running the show. This is why I asked both of you, to who does she answer to? Chris works 15 minutes over and asked how she can put it in the books and was told 0.25. I asked why was that okay for her and not me, and the response I got was because I work more hours. I have never gone over 29 hours. Obviously, sometimes it's discussed to put me in the back office as soon as you return. I was not, I will not walk on pins and needles or be intimidated by anyone. Any job I have, I put 100% into and care about it and the business. There are HIPAA violations all over the office, and one particular I shared with you because I didn't want you to get dinged for it. You ripped my head off about it an hour later, and I had no idea what you were talking about because we were actually talking about the minutes. You are not going to pay for that which could take all but 5 minutes to handle. That's on you. There are too many hands in the pot as well. The incident with the money on Thursday was unacceptable as well. I collected money all day, and then Debbie wants to come take the bag and tell me there was money missing. You don't do that. Of course, it was just a matter of changing checks to cash, but that should not have been me to do it. after a little research, which didn't take a lot, I realized that there were 8 to 9 other women in this position prior to me within the last 2 years. That should tell you something. It's almost like you have something against women, or maybe don't have this power at home. I don't know that you just simply do not treat people this way. Debbie, I actually felt bad for her on Friday, as you were sick and all medicated up, and Dan was standing out there yelling at you and intimidating you as well. I don't get it. There are some great people that work in this office who were kind and witnessed the treatment I have from both of you. I believe I will be making some phone calls. You're supposed to be representing the town I grew up in, not to be against it. If you truly believe the city is trash, then you shouldn't hold that position. When you work as a team, it does wonders. When you are negative, as you two are, it breaks down everything around you. Sincerely, Janet Moore. With this, I talked to her personally and told her I would investigate. I've also talked with the council, and we'll be looking into it. I don't know what's really going on, but this is upsetting to me as well as the council people that got a copy of it. So, as president, it's up to me to look into it and to handle it the best way I can. So, I want to be on record for that. Thank you.
Ed, hold on a second. You're going to be retaining private counsel, not me, right?
If you go that way, that's correct.
Because of my relationship
That's
with Dan.
correct.
Okay.
Sorry.
No comment. Thank you for everybody for coming.
Kathy?
Thank you again. And just because these ordinances that we've been talking about tonight are pretty close to home things, the one with animal control, the one with the compliance things and concerns, you may think that these aren't going to hit you, but I would welcome feedback on any of your thoughts on any of those, because I think we need to do a good or even better job about enforcing and keeping Beach Grove up to code and keeping our properties good, and whether that's property owners, homeowners that live in the home in Beach Grove, or non-resident landlords that rent their property to people that are living in Beach Grove and representing us. So just if you get a chance to mention it to a friend, to let people know in the city what's out there. So, and please give feedback to any of us as counselors. We'd love to hear more from the public, because these are the issues, even though they're not millions of dollar things that we dealt with the budgets and all the salaries and things. These are the ones that in the middle of the night that somebody's gonna call and complain because their dog got picked up or whatever. Excuse me. So please just put a little burden out there. If you have the internet, like was said before, you can go on and read the ordinances and yourself in detail and see if there are any things in there that stick out to you. Because I do the best that I can, but I can only look at it from my perspective and frame of mind. And maybe I don't have a dog or cat, and so I can't speak to those issues and how that would affect me. So just putting that out there. And thanks for coming. I know there's a lot of people that are here over and over, and I appreciate that, because I really do want your feedback as well. So thanks.
Thank you, Counselor. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
Meeting is adjourned at 8:29 p.m. We will meet again on Monday, May the 5th.